All right, everyone. Welcome back to Games After Work, our our new kind of feature that we're starting here is Night School. So this is actually Episode 2 of Civ 6. So what we'll do is we will spend a little bit of time looking at and working and building upon some of the things we worked on in the first video, and trying to expand our little fledgling of a civilization. I'll give you some tips towards to the game to help get you started, and we'll go ahead and flesh it out a little bit more this time around. So we'll load our old game, labeled it Civ Tutorial. Alright, let's get it going. So we're good old America, Teddy Roosevelt. We've got it on one of the easier settings, Chieftain, and then the standard turn times to make it so that the game's not too long. When you adjust the turns, what it does basically is it balances the game out, so technologies and development of civilizations kind of either get longer or shorter depending on how many turns you want the game to be. So if you set it to longer, like epic settings and things like that, it'll take more turns for you to get certain technologies, but you'll be able to move units more because you'll be able to move them every turn. So it depends on how many turns you want in the game. So we've got a normal game here. We'll go ahead and get that loaded.
The first stirrings of life beneath water.
As with all civs, they give their nice little intro every time you launch the game. Again, with the American Empire, we've got a couple features and abilities that we're using. So you have the Roosevelt Corollary. Units receive a +5 combat strength on their home continent. +1 appeal to all tiles in a city with a national park, so that helps if you have national parks in your city. You also gain the Rough Rider unique unit, which is a unique land unit. You also gain the P-51 Mustang, which is a World War II era plane, I believe. And then the Film Studio, a unique building. These are all things that are a little bit better than the default version of the buildings. Alright, so now we're done with the intro. Let's go ahead and continue where we left off. Alright, so we're in year 3640. I've put my picture over the left-hand side this time so we can see the things that come up on the right. The left-hand side will just have the map. Actually, I'll move my picture up a little bit, and then I can move my name too. Ooh, fresh SMP. Alright, move that up so you can see the map as well. Alright, so where we left off last time, we were sending our warrior around. We had just created our scout unit. And so the first goal, like I told you guys, is to make sure that we're exploring as much as we can in our general vicinity so we can get the benefits of villages or city-states. So we'll go ahead and continue that mentality. Looks like we've already run into another civilization down here, right? England, or the UK, I think is what it is in this one. The British Empire. So that's, in good historical terms, that's not always the best person to run into first, because they're pretty hardcore as far as empire building, but hopefully they're not as mean in this game. All right, so we'll go ahead and click our next turn on the right hand side. All right, so we're going to still continue to explore this kind of northern tundra area up here with our scout unit. So like I said, one at a time, usually tiles while you're exploring like this. That way you don't run into bad guys and stuff that you didn't mean to attack. Alright, so we found a village down here to the bottom left, so we'll move towards it. It'll make that little tribal sound when you find a village. Alright, so we could go left or right with this. I think I want to keep it as close to my main city as I can. I want to try to get around this mountain range to see what's behind it, so I'm going to go right. Oh, looks like the mountain range continues to go all the way down, so that might not be a good thing. Alright, so this is just letting us know that we found that village up here. Alright, so we're back here again. We'll run into that village. The villagers share secrets of their well-organized community, so we got a boost towards a civic, which is actually towards the early Empire civic, which is a good early civic to have. It helps with expansion. So that one got boosted 50%, so when we finish up over here with Code of Laws, we might be able to start on that one. We might not be quite in the tree to early Empire yet, so there might be one in between that we have to do first. Alright, so I'm going to continue on that. So that was good. We got that village, and we have another turn, so we'll go ahead and move that guy out of there. Now, one of the differences also with Civ 6 as opposed to, say, Civ 5 or Civ 4 is that you don't automatically default start out as not being able to move through other players' territory. And it also doesn't inherently make them mad when you move through their territory. That comes later on when you start getting border understandings about borders and technology and stuff like that. But at the early part of the game, you don't have to worry about that quite as much. So I have to make the decision whether I want to continue going all the way down this mountain range to try to get behind it and come up here, or I could actually backtrack and come up here and go around the north side of it. But I think in the sake of exploration, I'm going to continue this trek around it. So we'll move down here and towards London, and then that would give us the option to move over there. All right, we're going to continue that. All right, so we're still going good up here. I like to trek along the shorelines. These glacier areas, basically up here, are not. We're not able to traverse them, so we're actually going to move up this direction. I know I did more than one. I'm sorry. Actually, it's not quite glaciers yet, right? It's just snow-covered land up here. I thought that river was actually a break in the continent, but it's not, and we found a village up there, so we'll make our way towards that. Down here, we'll continue our trek to try to get around that mountain range. Because we moved into that wooded area, it took all our movement there. All right, so we'll continue that. We haven't found the village, or we haven't gotten to the village yet, so I'm going to leave this village discovered over here to the right to remind me.
New policies in our government can be of great benefit. Our people await your decree.
All right, so we've finished our first civic research. So the advisors let me know that we can
At his best,
change that.
man is the noblest of all animals. Separated from law and justice, he is the worst.
All right, so we discovered Code of Laws, and that gives us a couple different things. So at the beginning, you're definitely going to want to hit Change Policies on the first one. I always hit Change Policies to take a look at it. Now this is the government screen. That's a little bit different in Civ 6 as opposed to Civ 5 and Civ 4. On the left-hand side, you see the overall form of our government. So the overall form of our government is a chiefdom. We gain 1 influence per turn. At 100 points, we earn 1 envoy, and we can send envoys to city-states to gain benefits with the city-states. So we're gaining envoys very slowly right now at 100 turns. Okay, so we don't get much from this. Legacy bonuses are the learned benefits that stay with us as we progress through the different systems of government. The learned policy symbol indicates a government bonus that will accumulate over time. So we don't have any legacy bonuses for chiefdom as of yet. But now, since we've discovered Code of Laws, we have 2 policy openings that we can start to move into. And in this one, we have a card system, right, that we can move in policies and move them out as we progress in the game to change up our policy style within our larger government formation. So we have 1 open slot for military policies and 1 open slot for economic policies. Those coincide with the colors of the cards that you have. So for the military policies, I can pick either Survey, which is double experience for recon units, or I can pick Discipline, which is +5 unit combat strength when fighting barbarians. Early on in the game, I usually go with Discipline because I need the extra combat strength when it comes to barbarians. We're not encountering many barbarians right now. But I'm still going to err on the side of being a little more combat powerful in case we do, because I don't want us to die early on in this game. Okay, and so for economic policies, we can do urban planning, which is +1 production in all cities, or we can do God King, which is +1 faith and +1 gold in the capital. So we can look over up here, we can see that we're not earning any faith per turn right now. And faith and religion is a pretty big component of this game. So I'm going to want to at least get a baseline of faith coming in first. Above production. So I'm going to move that in, plus we'll also get the benefit of getting +1 gold. We're earning about 5 gold per turn up here right now, and about 1.9 culture from our cities, and about 4.1 science per turn from our cities as well, or from Washington. All right, so I've got my 2 policies put in. I'm going to go down here to confirm policies, and it's going to say, are you sure? So yeah. Now, remember, when it comes to policies, you can only change those for free when you discover new civic systems, right? That'll give you new cards. If you want to do it in between, there are some costs to it. I'm not exactly sure what those costs are. I think it actually changes by type of government, and if you can even change policies in between finding civics or discovering new civics. All right, so I'm going to move my scout over here. Oh, okay. So he just found a barbarian encampment. So this is one of the reasons why I made sure that we've got that 1 civic discipline. We'll get +5 combat strength when fighting barbarians. Now I want this unit to actually cross this river, but we don't have enough movement. It takes 3 movement. We've only got 2, so that's why it won't let me do it this turn. But I'm actually going to go ahead and skip their turn because I don't want them to get further away from where I want them to go up here in the village. I'm going to skip that turn. And then I will continue this trek with this warrior down here. We'll cross the river, and then that will take all of our turn there. We also need to choose a new civic since we discovered Code of Laws. Yeah, so we do have some intermediates there before we get that one that we already have half filled for. Because we found the other civilization, we also got a bonus to foreign trade, right? So we've also got about 50% done on the foreign trade civic. So that will give us the ability to start joint wars with other people. It'll give us maritime industries since we're on the coast, and it'll also give us caravans which will help with trade routes later on. And foreign trade also opens up the trade route possibility as well. So we'll need that. Trade routes become extremely useful later on, especially when we're building roads between cities, because workers in Civ 6 don't build roads anymore. It's actually trade caravans that build roads. Not only that, but you trade goods with other places. That's a big part of the game. So we'll go ahead and start with foreign trade. That'll only take 10 turns. We've got 2 turns left on pottery, which will give us a granary, which is +1 food for the city, and then +2 housing, which is another new thing that keeping the Civ 6 is you need adequate housing in cities to make sure that they can grow properly. As you can see down here, when I clicked on Washington, it shows you the housing capacity. And our housing capacity is filled to 3 out of 6 right now. So once it hits 6, our city won't actually be able to grow anymore until we create more housing for the city. All right, so we've got all that done. Let's go ahead and click next turn. There, if you heard that sound usually means that you've encountered a new barbarian or a new barbarian camp was built. And I just happened to see it in the map that was in the uncharted part of the map. It'll show you if a new camp's built, but it won't tell you exactly where it is. You kind of have to look for it. But I did see it get built right here, so I know there's a new barbarian encampment right there. And if I don't nip that in the bud, they're going to continue to send barbarian units out towards my city of Washington, which is not going to be good. So we might actually need to bring this warrior back up and stop them from exploring right now, because we might need them to fight. Alright, so we'll go back up here. We should be fairly safe when we move across this river. Barbarians usually don't attack, especially on the earlier or on the easier modes. Even though they could probably beat my scout right now, it would take a couple turns, and I don't think they're willing to give that up. So I'm actually going to go ahead and pull this guy back over the river, since we've seen that problem with the barbarian encampment up here. Alright.
I thought clay must feel happy in the good potter's hand.
Alright. So we just finished pottery. Pottery also allows us to, let's see, I think pottery also allows for the harvesting of rice, maybe. I'm not positive about that. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and continue to see. Okay, so this this barbarian outpost up here has also created a barbarian warrior, so that's getting pretty formidable up there. We're putting our scout in quite a bit of danger right now, but I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot. These are the glaciers earlier that I was talking about that you can't traverse, so I actually can't go any more north than that. But I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot, grab that. I was granted a recon unit. So the villages can give you all different kinds of benefits, one of which is that they will grant you a recon unit that's a new scout unit, basically, that starts at your home city. Alright, so I've got enough movement points. I'm going to move it back down here. And we'll try to get back across that river before that barbarian makes its way around, and the spearman and the barbarian want to attack us. So we also want to choose a new research, technology, science technology, because we finished out with pottery. It looks like the two smallest ones that we have down here as far as turns go that we need to get the basis for our animal husbandry and writing. So animal husbandry helps out with different kinds of domesticated animals, which we don't really have any around, which would be things like cows. Don't really have many of them around. And writing is going to help out with science production, and then also later being able to form treaties with other civilizations. So I'm going to go ahead, just for the sake of getting it out of the way, we'll do animal husbandry, because we'll probably run into domesticated animals later on. So it still says I actually have enough turns, or enough movement if I want to attack the barbarian encampment, and I don't really want to do that. If I scroll over the barbarian encampment, you can see the barbarian spearman's on the left-hand side down at the bottom. My scout is on the right-hand side, and it gives me a prediction of how that battle's going to go. And so my scout strength is 23, and the spearman's strength is 31. So I'm going to take quite a bit of damage and not be able to deal very much damage. So my best bet here is to just kind of try to keep to myself and hope that that spearman doesn't pay attention to me. So I'm going to skip that turn. So now we've got our new scout. And what we can do with the new scout is go ahead and move them over here to the north part of that mountain range. All right, now we found a barbarian scout out here, which isn't too much of a threat, but it's still pretty annoying. Down here on the bottom right, sometimes it doesn't automatically go to the next unit that's available to move, so you need to click on the exclamation point here. It says a unit needs orders. So I'll click on that, and it'll take me down here to my warrior that I have. So I'm going to move him over. And I don't have enough movement actually to move into these woods now. So I'll leave him there and skip that turn because we're still trying to get back up to that barbarian outpost. Oh, the spearmen! The spearmen tried to pay it. They decided to pay attention to us, and so did the barbarian warriors. That's not good. So they both attacked my scout. My scout was able to get away with maybe 1/3 of his health left, but we also did get a promotion, which can come in handy. I'll show you that real quick. If we click on it, it shows me I can promote him to either a ranger, which gives me faster movement in woods and rainforest terrain, or the alpine promotion, which gives me faster movement on hill terrains. Depends on where you are in the map to which one will be more beneficial. But if you upgrade them or if you promote them, that also takes away their movement points for that turn. So that counts as their turn. My first goal with this guy is to try to keep him alive, so I'm going to pull him on the other side of this river, and I don't think either of them will be able to get him on the other side of the river because the warrior is not going to be able to. He's not going to have enough movement points to get him on the other side of the river, and the spearman's not going to have enough movement points either because they can either go one there or one here and then couldn't cross the river. So I'm going to pull him down here in hopes of trying to run away as fast as I can from those barbarians. All right, so we've met up with this scout over here. One of the best ways still to give your scouts experience is to get into small skirmishes with other low-level combat units like other scouts. So I'm using my scout here. I'm going to hover over the barbarian scout to the right. My scout is actually on the right-hand side of this victory screen down at the bottom. It shows me that if I battled them, I'd have a major victory. I have 21 combat to their 13 combat based off of things like terrain, my +5 advantage versus barbarians, and stuff like that. So that's already accounted in. So it's in my interest to probably go ahead and attack this scout so that I can get some easy experience points to hopefully be able to promote my scout so that he can move more quickly over either hill terrain or through forests. So we'll go ahead and attack this scout, get into a little battle. Alright, so you can see when I did that, there was a blue +5. That means I got +5 experience, and it said -24 in red. That was how much damage I took. So this guy took quite a bit of damage too. I can't see exactly how much he took damage, but that'll be alright. Alright, so we moved on to our next turn. I left that promotion there just to remind me on the right-hand side that that guy's got a promotion up there. Alright, so we got across the river up here. Like I said, the barbarian couldn't catch us because they didn't have enough movement turns. The spearmen didn't want to leave the camp and didn't have enough turns anyway. So now we're going to run as fast as we can because even if this barbarian does make it across the river, that'll take their whole turn. So if I can get all the way down here, they will not be able to catch me, and I'll actually be invisible to them now, so they won't be able to see me unless they move into a more adjacent visible hexagon. Alright, but since I used that turn, I can't promote them yet, so I have to just go ahead and let that be. And then I actually want to click on my scout. See, it's a little glitchy right now as far as letting you know that you still have units available. I'm hoping they'll fix this in a recent or an update soon, that it actually lets you know that your units still have turns, because I'm pretty sure if you would have hit that end turn button, it would have just canceled out those turns and not gone to these units over here. Alright, but what I'm going to do is go ahead and right down here I have a button that's going to be really helpful. So I'm down about 20, what was it, 21, 24 health points, something like that. Yeah, 24, 76 out of 100. So I'm down a little bit. So I'm actually going to fortify until healed right here. And let this guy heal up a little bit so he's back to full strength. That way if he encounters that other scout again, he'll be able to do even more damage because that scout will be hurt and he will be healed. One interesting thing about the barbarian units that I've noticed so far, at least at the easier levels of difficulty, is they don't heal themselves. So they don't take the time to stop and heal. They'll just kind of go full into it. So we'll fortify and heal this guy. And then I also know that we have this unit down here that needs movement. Again, I think if I would have clicked next turn there, it would have just skipped this guy's turn. That's not good. Alright, so I want to move him out of there, move him up northwest, because again, we're still moving towards this barbarian encampment. Alright, I'm going to leave this promotion reminder here so that I remember to give that scout in the north a promotion. Alright, so we're back here to our scout in the north. I'm going to go ahead and use this. He's going to launch it up. The button is right here. It looks like a little medal above the scout's information down here. So I'm going to click that. Actually, I'm going to take a look at the terrain around here. We've got some woods, but it looks like we're working with more hills. around our main cities. So I'm going to go with the Alpine promotion. It's faster movement on hill terrain. So we'll give them that. When promoting, what also happens is they get plus 50 health back. So that actually helps quite a bit. If you remember, our unit was down to like maybe 1/3 health. Now he's up to a little bit over 2/3 health. So he's much healthier than he was before. So another unit needs order. I'll click there, and that'll let us know that this unit needs to move again. We'll move him up here to the northwest. And then it didn't tell me that this unit's ready yet because it's not fully healed. He's up to 86. So we'll go ahead and let him continue to heal. We'll hit that next turn button. All right. Okay. So we want to continue to explore up here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move this scout through there. Looks like we also have a village there that we didn't. I guess I forgot about it last time. So there is a village, a tribal village right there that we need to capture, or not capture, but we need to meet and discover to give us a bonus. Looks like the warrior's turn, so we'll go ahead and move him north. We'll just keep zigzagging back north until we get near this encampment. We're almost fully healed here. We're about 96 health. Actually, I think that's good for now, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and get this guy going again. I'm going to move to the southeast with them. And then, even though we have 1/3 movement turn left with this guy, we have trees or woods and hills all around us, so we don't have enough movement to move into any of those hexagons. So we'll skip their turn, the remainder of it. Alright, and we're still slowly trudging away at building a settler up here. So we've got 5 more turns on that settler so that we can expand our empire a little bit, but I want to expand it down here to where these rivers are because that'll be a good fertile place for us to build another city. First, we need to secure this area over here and take care of this barbarian encampment before we do that. So we'll keep going. Oh. So the English Empire has sent a royal envoy on behalf of the United Kingdom. We hope they are well received. So in this game, this is also, in Civ 6, this is a version of kind of extending friendship to your neighbors and people that you have met. So they have kind of extended a hand to us and said that we wish to send a royal envoy that will bring tidings and goodwill to you. And we can choose to whether say your delegation's most welcome, our capital's not open to visitors at this time, or we can just ignore them and say goodbye. I'm not quite sure what ignore them does. The capital's not open to visitors at this time. It's going to kind of give you a negative buff with that empire, and your delegation is most welcome is going to be friendly. So we'll tell them the delegation's most welcome. We don't want to get on anyone's bad side to begin with. Alright, so we'll say goodbye. They said excellent. So it's not an actual unit or anything like that.
Dogs in heaven. Then when I die, I want to go where they went.
Alright, so we just discovered animal husbandry. We'll go ahead and X out of that. They want us to choose our new research next. So our next lowest is going to be writing. I tend to go with the lowest, like I said, the lowest number of turns left. Unless there's something that I'm really aiming for that I need for a certain time period. Actually, do we need masonry for? I don't think so. So we'll do writing. It'll only take 6 turns, and that way we can get that covered. All right. So they want us to move our scout up here, so we're going to move it into that tribal village that we didn't discover the first time, and we got plus 20 faith for that. So that'll actually jumpstart us into discovering a pantheon. So much like Civ 5, once you hit a certain threshold of faith points in the early game, you discover a pantheon of gods. Instead of monotheism, right, you start out with multiple gods. So once we discover that pantheon, we can take a small buff depending on what kind of pantheon we discover. And I'll show you that in a minute if it gives it to us this turn. It might be another couple turns before we see that. But I'm going to continue to move this guy northeast so we can do some more discovering, try to steer clear a little bit of this over here. All right, so we have another unit that needs turns, or needs orders. Let's go ahead and bring them. Yeah, I'm going to bring them down this way because I want to see what's right up against that mountain range. That's fine. Bring this guy up. All right, we're all set. Yeah, so, okay, we had some holy sounds. And that lets us know that we've discovered a pantheon. So down here it says choose pantheon on the bottom right hand side. We'll click on that, and it'll bring up a list of all the pantheons that haven't been discovered yet. So there's quite a few left right now. I'm not going to read through all of them because there's multiple different ones. Some of my favorite, it really depends on what areas you're around. Again, if you have a lot of marshes, oases, floodplains, if you want to focus on building ancient and classical wonders, if you need amenities, if you want to work on great persons, or if you need more food. So there's lots of different things you can do with it. One of my default ones is usually religious settlements because border expansion rates being 15% higher is actually pretty cool. It allows your borders, those markers around your city, to expand quicker and quicker, which we haven't really touched on those too much. As your cities expand and as your cultural influence gets higher, those borders move out further and further, and your empire takes over more tiles around the city and owns those tiles for you to be able to develop later on. So religious settlement is a really good one to have early on, especially if you're going to build a lot of cities, because that way it allows the borders to expand pretty quickly. You can take over quite a few things. Actually, I'm going to close this out real quick so I can get a feel for where my cities are and what they're going to be. I was thinking about doing the pantheon that allows for me to get extra faith based off of my quarries when I build them here on these stone tiles, but actually since there's only 2, I don't think that's going to be super beneficial, so I think I'm going to go ahead and rely on my baseline go-to, which is religious settlements. And so when someone already takes that one before I get it, it pisses me off. Alright, so I'll go with religious settlements, and then I will say found this pantheon. So we founded it. Worship of your pantheon of gods has brought up further questions about spiritual forces in the world, so it actually gave us a boost to mysticism, which I believe is a civic trait. So we got a 50% boost to mysticism for founding a pantheon. And founding a pantheon is also the first step to later founding a world religion, which is something that becomes extremely powerful in the game. Alright, so we did that. Now, let's see. This guy is about 92 health. I tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and let him fortify until healed just so he can get 100% health back. And then I will continue to move this guy down here because we can get 2 spaces down there. So move him 1 to give us a little bit of a view, move him another. Alright, so we're actually on what looks like a pretty thin peninsula here. As we start to look at it, we'll see how it plays out. And then there's this really problematic mountain range right in the middle, because if we have cities on both sides of it, we can't build roads through the mountains. So that'll be a problem. Alright, we will continue to move this up. Continue this guy moving forward. Now we actually get a glimpse of the barbarian camp that we want to try to protect our upcoming settler from, and furthermore our civilization as a whole. Alright guys, well I want to try to keep these videos to a 20 to 30 minute mark, so I think I'm going to go ahead and call that for now. This has been installment 2 of Night School on Civ 6. Hopefully it helps you a little bit, getting started early on in the game. I'll continue to do these. as much as my daughter allows. She's 14 months old, and so she tends to like to yell whenever I'm in the middle of these videos. So a lot of times it's hard for me to get these videos out unless she's either sleeping or at daycare. So I will call it for today. So this is, we'll go up here to save game. We'll save it as our Civ tutorial. Just going to overwrite it. Yep, I want to overwrite it. Alright, so that'll be it for today. Again, my name is Fresh SMP. I'm with Games After Work. If you'd like to visit us, our website is www.gamesafter.work. And you can also find us on Twitch, also on YouTube, and on Twitter. So if you need anything from us, or if you'd like to see more of anything, please let us know in the comments section below, or watch us when we stream live on Twitch, and maybe YouTube Live coming up here soon. All right, thank you, everybody. See you soon. Bye-bye.